So you're creating a synthetic hurricane and trapping it in a 100-foot-high tube.
That's right.
If I gave you $1 million today, how long would it take to build the first one?
We would be operational in 9 months.
No way.
Way.
My BS meter is going through the roof. It's going bing, 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 bing.
What about the other 999 inventions? Did you ever make any money with those?
My inventions are making over $1 billion per year.
Can you name one that I would know?
Artificial hearts, artificial
You
kidney.
invented the artificial heart?
It's a left ventricular assist device.
Do you get money from that?
I do get some royalties, and I get royalties from my music. I write music, I design clothing, I sew.
I want to know what you sew.
Leather, and I sew ladies' skirts, and vests, and handbags.
It's a very fine line of being a genius and crazy. I'm just asking you. Has anybody ever said to you, you're crazy?
So has anybody ever said to you, you're crazy? Because the question is, are you crazy or are you actually investable? So it's a great honor for me to be back here again this year. I was here last year as part of a panel, and for some reason they called me back here to speak to you guys today. It's a great honor to share the stage with the first straight-talking politician that I've ever met, the first politician that is actually capable of giving us short answers, succinct and to the point. Great honor to be here. And of course, a great honor for me to be here to talk entrepreneurship to tomorrow's leaders, because I think entrepreneurship is going to solve all of South Africa's problems, and I know it's a huge cliche. So for those of you who don't know who I am, as Jeremy said, I'm the co-CEO of the Creative Council Group, a group that we sold to the Publicis Group last year for just over 1.5 billion rand. I'm also a venture capitalist, I'm a speaker, I'm a multiple award winner, I've done TV shows, I'm a mentor, and I'm a mentee. I've had an amazing, amazing, amazing ride. And during my ride, I've won a lot of entrepreneur awards. I've won the All Africa Business Leader Award for South Africa, the All Africa Business Leaders Award for the whole of Africa, or for Southern Africa. I've won the Entrepreneur of the Year, South Africa's Entrepreneur of the Year, Sanlam Entrepreneur of the Year. I won the Business Leader at the National Business Awards last year. And by far the one that I'm most proud of is the EY World Entrepreneur of the Year with my business partner, Gil Oved. So, you're probably looking at me and going, yeah, but you know, you come from a spoiled background, and you're a smart guy, and you're academically smart. And so I thought I'd just share a little bit of my story with you guys, and then we'll get into the real meat of the topic as to whether or not people are investable. So, first of all, I want to put a disclaimer out there. I come from a very humble background. My mother was a refugee. She lived in a tent until she was 6 years old. When we came to South Africa, my dad was the only working parent, and we had 5 kids. We had 1 working parent, and we had 5 kids. So for us, brands, luxuries, a bedroom for each child was something that we knew nothing about. So let's get that out the way. That's pig shit. I was as thick as pig shit, okay? At school, I failed every single year until matric. If you don't believe me, that is my actual report, and that is my actual grade. I failed. I've got terrible, terrible, terrible ADD, and I cannot concentrate, and I could not concentrate in class, and I failed dismally at school. So now you're going to turn around and you're going to go, oh, that's cool, but you went to university, right? Yes, I did. But my dad had 4 other kids. And he said, and we had 1 salary, and he said, look, if you want to go to university, sorry about the images. I thought I'd give a light-hearted spin. So if you want to go to university, you've got to pay your own way. So what did I do? I enrolled at a full-time university course, and I started a business. It was my first business. It was called A&R Wholesalers. I used to import car sound from Pretoria to Joburg, sell it to my friends at a markup, and I paid my way through university. So now you're going, okay, yeah, but when you left university, your dad helped you with his network to get a job. It wasn't like that. I had no network. I had no network. In fact, I remember when I finished studying, I went to my dad and I said, Dad, all my friends are getting jobs as stockbrokers. I need a job as a stockbroker. Please phone one of your friends. And my dad said, I've got no one to phone. And I remember being quite angry with him because all my friends had like these networks, and I was quite angry with him. So now you're going, okay, cool, but when you started your business, you had funding. No, I had no funding. I remember when I started the Creative Council, I needed 100,000 Rand to start the business. And at the time, I was willing to sell 50% of the business to anyone who would give me 100,000 Rand. No one would give me 100,000 Rand. I was uninvestable. Had someone given me 100,000 Rand, 15 years later, the 100,000 Rand would have been worth 750 million Rand. But no one would give me 100,000 Rand because I was uninvestable. You know why I was uninvestable? Because before I started the Creative Council, I blew myself up in an internet business. In 1998, when the internet was the big buzzword, I went out to the markets and I raised 25 million Rand to start South Africa's first online stockbroking portal. I know today the idea sounds revolutionary, not revolutionary, but at the time, in 1998, online stockbroking was a novelty. It had never been done in South Africa. I raised 25 million Rand. I worked for 3 years. And after 3 years, the internet bubble burst, and my business went insolvent. And I lost everything. I lost all my money. I lost my car. I lost my house. Imagine being an internet millionaire wearing the most amazing suits and the most amazing ties. I used to walk into Hugo Boss and I used to buy ties for shits and giggles. I used to drive a convertible because I was an internet millionaire and I was talking the right language. And in one day, I got to the office, there was a padlock on the door. My team of 27 developers was standing outside. And there was a padlock on the door with a sheriff's note that said, this business is now in liquidation. And if you want any of your personal things like your photos, you can walk inside and you can go and fetch your personals. I was down and out. And the worst part wasn't that I was down and out. It was that I had lost my confidence. And I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe that I could go out there and I could do it again. But after a long struggle, and we're not going to talk about that here today because I can talk about that for 2 hours, 15 years later, I sell my business in South Africa's biggest marketing and media transaction for a sum that is reported in the press to be between 1 and 1.5 billion Rand. And because of confidentiality, I can't tell you the exact number, but I can tell you can sometimes believe what you read in the press. Yeah. So I sold my business last year, and it's allowed me an amazing opportunity to do stuff that I really love, and that is to nurture entrepreneurship in South Africa. And in that vein, what I've done is I've set up a whole lot of funds and incubators, and I've pledged 50 million Rand of my own money to furthering entrepreneurship in South Africa. Particularly, thank you, particularly young black entrepreneurs in South Africa. And my belief is very simple. Because of the atrocities of the past, we have a generation that is incredibly, incredibly entrepreneurially talented, but doesn't have someone to help them and guide them because there's a generational entrepreneurship gap in South Africa. And this 50 million Rand has been pledged by me to close that gap in South Africa. So, thank you. So in that spirit, I've created a whole lot of funds, and I sit on the boards in a whole lot of funds, and these funds are designed to give entrepreneurs money in different industries and in different sectors, etc., etc. So I do a talk, and I do a talk at a conference called Suits and Sneakers. It was a talk for about 3,000 young entrepreneurs, and I sit down with them, and I do a talk, and the talk is called Be Like the Dog. Why be like the dog? Because the one quality that all entrepreneurs have, or need to have if they're going to survive, is they need to be like the dog. What do I mean? Have you ever seen a dog when it's chasing another dog for the purpose of... Don't make me say it. You've seen that. Now, you can walk up to the dog with a rake, with a hose pipe, with water. That dog has one thing on its mind. It's going. So I believe that the one quality that all entrepreneurs need to have if they're going to succeed is they need to be like the dog. So I do this talk. 3 days later, I get onto a flight from Cape Town to Joburg. And there's this guy sitting next to me, there's an empty seat, and then there's me. And then this guy, and he's looking at me like this. So I pull out my phone, and I pretend to type a text, and I snap a picture of him. In case something happens to me on the way home, at least I kind of know who did it. And eventually, like 1 hour into the flight, he says to me, hey, aren't you the guy that did that talk, that Be Like the Dog talk? I'm like, yes, that's me. He says, oh, great. Can you tell me, how can I be successful? What's the one thing that will make me successful? I look at this guy and I think to myself, do you really think that sitting next to me on a flight, I'm going to tell you one thing that's going to make you successful? But the problem is that all the time, wherever I go, people say to me, what's your secret to success? What makes you successful? And the truth is that got me thinking. What is it that makes people successful? And in my new line of work, it almost is, what is it that makes people investable? And it got me asking a whole lot of questions. What is it that makes people investable? Because when you talk about investment, what you're actually saying is that you're investing in the success of somebody else. Because you're investing your time, your energy, and your money. And if they succeed going forward, then you'll get a return on your capital. And if you don't, they don't. So I started asking myself the question, and I came down to the answer being twofold. The first part of the question is, do they have what it takes to be successful? And the next part of the question, which is actually not that important, is, have they done what it takes to be successful? So when I say successful, what we find is that it's not about starting a business in an office, in a small garage, and then becoming this multi-billionaire, huge corporation. Success is success in business, in life, in sport. And what you find is that success is always the same. So how many of you know who that is? That's Leo Messi. Leo Messi was 4'1", and he had a growth hormone deficiency. And there was a club called Football Club Barcelona, and what Football Club Barcelona decided to do was to invest in him and to give him the growth hormone that he needed to become today what is South Africa's what is the world's most valuable and most celebrated football player. They invested in him. And the question is, why did they invest in him? So what we find is that there's a certain wiring that all successful people have in there. It's a certain wiring that all champions have. Champions at sport, champions at leadership, champions at business, they all seem to be wired exactly the same way. And so we need to ask ourselves, and I'm going to pose the question to you guys. The first question is, do you have what it takes to be successful? And I'm going to give you a 10-point checklist. And then if you have what it takes to be successful, then you need to do what it takes to be successful. I don't know how many of you know, and I keep drawing parallels between sport and business, because I believe that business is actually a sport. The only thing is that our field is in an office or in a business environment, and their field has got grass in it. But business is actually a sport, and that's why I keep drawing the parallels. So on the point of, have you done what it takes to be successful? I don't know how many of you know, but when Cristiano Ronaldo started playing football, they said, you're too thin, you're too small, you're never going to make it. He had what it takes, and then he went out and he did what it takes. Now, you'll find that if you have what it takes, that usually drives you to do what it takes. So if you have the one, chances are it'll feed into the other. So let's go into the characteristics that I believe that you have to look for in people that you're going to invest in people that are going to be successful. And the first characteristic is this crazy tenacity. They need to be like the dog. I once asked my business mentor, I said to him, he's a very wealthy guy who's invested in a lot of very successful businesses. And I said to him, Jonathan, what makes people successful? And he said, the successful people don't have degrees or diplomas or superpowers. They have one thing. They have a sense of entitlement, a sense that the world owes them to be wealthy. And they are going to focus on being wealthy and successful regardless of what happens. Regardless of whether the world comes at them with a rake or a hosepipe, they're going to have this sense of tenacity that is unparalleled. And because they have this sense of tenacity, do you know what happens? This happens.
Personified toughness, power, and courage. Round 10, they touch gloves, and here we go again. Oh, what a left hook by Castillo, and Corrales is down. What a dramatic moment here in round 10. Castillo looking to finish it here. He goes down against the ropes. Corrales coming back. Castillo's in trouble. Weeks steps in, and the fight is over. Corrales with a remarkable, dramatic turnaround to win this fight.
That's what I feel like every single day. Because what you find with these very successful people is they develop this ability to get knocked down and keep getting up again. And I like to say that they almost stupidly resilient. Okay, they really are. They're almost stupidly resilient. They keep getting knocked down and they keep getting up again. So, the other thing with really successful people is that they never ever see rules or restrictions. When you tell them this can't be done, what you're actually saying to them is, please work out a solution to get this done. When you say to them, this is impossible, what you're actually saying to them is, I'm challenging you to solve this problem. I don't see rules. When you speak to my staff in the office, in our office, the word cannot be done, don't, it doesn't exist. In fact, when they say that, I go out and I try and prove to them how easy it is to actually solve this problem. And you know what? When we walked into the advertising industry, everyone said, you can't change this industry. It's a retainer-based industry. You can only charge clients X, Y, Z. And in 2015, Jeremy gave us the Industry Leaders Award because we broke every single rule in the industry. Why? Because we asked different questions, and we didn't accept no as an answer. So do you have those friends in your circle of friends that run now and ask questions later? So that's exactly the characteristics of an entrepreneur. What they do is they don't wait until their product is perfect. They start running and they work out how to solve the problems later. I once went to Silicon Valley and one of the guys said to me, if you've launched your business, if you're not embarrassed about the product that you've launched into the market, you've launched too late. What he's trying to say is entrepreneurs and successful people don't procrastinate. They start running and they work out how to solve the problems later. If you sit there and analyze everything, the more you analyze something, the more you'll find a reason not to do it. Start, go, work out how to solve the problems later. The next thing with entrepreneurs and successful people is that they are very, very, very self-critical. You know, my biggest critic is myself. I spoke at a panel of speakers the other night. There were 10 speakers at the night, and the guy who organized the panel sent me the votes afterwards, and he said to me, buddy, congratulations, you were the second best speaker after the guy that wrote. It's been beating me up for days. It's been killing me. It's been killing me. And that's how I've been since I was a child. Since I was a child, when I got things wrong, it broke me. I couldn't do it. When I read Cristiano Ronaldo's autobiography, there was a part in the autobiography where he says he scored an amazing goal, and the goal made at the time it was Manchester United, made Manchester United win the game. And after the game, what did he do? He took 30 balls, and he put them at the same spot, and he kicked the ball 30 times, and he got the ball in 30 times. And a journalist went to him and said to him, you scored the winning goal. It was probably one of the best goals we've ever seen. Why are you here kicking balls after the game when everyone's dressed and gone home? And he said very simply, I wanted to get the ball into there, and the ball went into there. And that's unacceptable. Okay. But that is how we think. Perfection is a state of mind. In our company, one of the pillars of our culture is brilliance or nothing. If we can't be brilliant, we'd rather not get involved. If we cannot win the race, we'd rather not get involved. What then happens is you find that successful people never really celebrate their success. Because by the time that the success is announced, their heads are forward. And again, in our business, what happened is we got this culture guy in, and he did an assessment of our business, and he said, the biggest problem with your business is that you don't celebrate success, that you should celebrate your successes. And the reason is because once we've conquered, we are so focused about the next conquest that we don't celebrate our success. Successful people are ridiculously competitive. And they're competitive about everything. If you guys have read any of the magazines or watched any of the TV interviews between myself and my partner, my biggest competitor is my business partner. He sits right next to me. And I'm so scared of what he's going to do that I make sure that I'm better than him. And I make sure that I'm better than me. And that's the state of mind. You've got to be so competitive. And you can't be competitive about some things and not be competitive about others. It's in your gene pool that everything you do, you've got to be the best. And because you're so competitive, you don't lose well. And when you lose, you never, ever, ever accept a loss. It was so ridiculous. 2 days ago, we got a mail from a client saying, thank you for doing a pitch against 3 other agencies. Unfortunately, we've decided to go with one of the other agencies. I got onto the phone immediately. I said, no, it's unacceptable. He's like, what do you mean? We did a pitch. There were 3 agencies. I said, no, it's unacceptable. I want to come and see. He says, no, but we've decided. We've decided now. I'm like, I have to come and see you. And I went and I saw him and I fought and I fought and I fought. And guess what? Last night at 8 o'clock, I got an email saying, we've actually got the account. Jeremy will inform you very soon. So what I'm saying is that if you don't lose well, if losing really gets to your gut and you take it personally, then you'll fight to get up again and get up again. And I don't actually ever see a loss because you tell me no and I'll find a way to get in. We don't lose well. So what you find as well is you find that successful people are fueled by their own optimism. They're fueled by their own optimism. I wake up in the middle of 15 years into my business, I wake up in the middle of the night with ideas and I write them down on my phone because I'm so fueled by this optimism that I have that I can solve problems. And it's the more fueled you are, the more energy you have, the more fueled you become, etc., etc. And the last quality that all successful people have, and I got this from an article that I read a few days ago, is that the one-word answer as to why Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and so many other people are so successful is something very simple. It's called focus. You cannot be doing 100 things and expect to become the best and expect to become successful. Remember what I said to you about the dog, where you've got to keep looking forward and you've got to be focused. You can't be doing a million things. When a guy walks in and says, please invest in me, but I'm also doing this, and I'm also doing this, and I'm also doing this, would you give him your money? No, because you need a guy that is so desperate and so focused that those are the guys that we invest in. So there's your checkpoint. 10 things that make people successful. So if you believe that you tick the 10 boxes that make people successful, and you're going to go out into the market and you're going to try and raise capital or try and raise investments, don't ruin your talent. Don't have the 10 things, but then not do what it takes. So I'm going to give you quickly 5 points, 5.5 points, that are going to make you investable if you think you have what it takes, or if you check the 10 boxes. The first thing is, go and do a business plan. I mentioned to you guys that in 1998, I raised 25 million rand to start a South African stockbroking company. What I didn't mention to you is that when I had the idea, I phoned my dad. I said, look, I know you've got one wealthy friend. Can you phone him so we can go and speak to him on Saturday because I want to bounce a business idea off him? And he made the appointment, and we went, and we sat there, and the guy said, what's your idea? And I told him the idea. He said, how much money do you need? I said, I need 25 million. Can you imagine? I was 25 years old. I was asking for 25 million rand. And he says, cool, where's your business plan? I said, I just told you the business plan. He's like, no, you must go and do a business plan. So I said, you know what? I'll come back tomorrow with the business plan, and we can talk again. And I went home, and I started writing the business plan. It took me 6 months. It was that much paper. It was the best thing that I'd ever done. You know why? Because when I wrote the business plan, I thought in depth about every part of my business. I scrutinized every single number in the business. And by the time I was finished, my business plan was so slick that I raised 25 million rand. 25 million rand 20 years ago. Can you imagine how much money that actually was? And that was on the back of an idea. The next thing is, once you've done a business plan, go out and pitch your business plan to as many people as possible and hope they say no. Why? Because then you become pitch fit. Because what happens then is that you learn all the nuances and you learn about what investors are looking for and you change your pitch accordingly. If you walk into an investor meeting and you get your money after the first meeting, then you haven't learned anything along the way. Go out there and become pitch fit. The next one is, that's kind of like how I feel every day. But you got to take the first step. You know, the one thing that really kills me is that a guy comes to me, he says to me, look, I've got this amazing business idea. I said, cool, what do you do? He says, no, I work at ABSA. I'm like, okay, but are you raising money? Yeah, but I still work at ABSA. Then there are guys that come to me and say to me, you know what, I had this idea, I left my job, I took all my life savings, I put them into this business plan, and I started running. And now I'm starting to run out of money. Those are the guys that you're going to invest in because they've had the courage to back themselves. And if you've got the courage to back yourself, put in your own cash. Okay? I know that sometimes you're looking for R1 million and you only have 50,000 Rand. Put in the 50,000 Rand. Because it makes investors comfortable that you guys believe in yourselves and you're willing to put in your own money. And the last thing, and probably the most important thing, is you've got to fail. You've got to fail. Everyone that knows me knows that the biggest thing that I preach is that in this country, our culture is all wrong because we shun failure in this country. And what we should do is we should celebrate failure. And the reason why we should celebrate failure is very simple. Because if you do something that something that people are doing all the time, then there's a roadmap. Then it's very simple. Then you're not going to fail. But if you go out there and you're trying to do something amazing that no one else has done, chances are you will fail 9 times, and if you're lucky, you'll succeed 1 out of 10 times. And we need to celebrate that. So when I lost my first business and I was insolvent, and everyone said to me, no, we can't back you because all you've got on your CV is that you're a failed entrepreneur. Okay, that was the wrong mindset. They should have backed me because I failed. If I have 2 people in front of me, both looking for the same amount of money, and one guy's failed and one guy's only had successes, I'm going to back the guy that failed. Because we learn nothing from success. We only learn from failures. And the harder the failure, the deeper the lesson. Success is evil. It breeds arrogance. That's it. So, an interview with Elon Musk, which I really loved.
3rd failure in a row. Did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up.
Okay, he lost 3 spaceships. 3 spaceships, years to build billions of dollars. That was the answer. No, we're going to carry on. And what you'll find is that the most important thing that you get on your path to success is that you learn to get up quickly after failure. The first time that you experience a failure, it takes you a long time to get up. You'll be depressed. You won't be able to move on. You'll lose your confidence. But when you get knocked 10 times, you just keep getting up. And you develop the ability to get up quickly after failure. And then fail again, and again, and again. And if you've got what it takes, and you use all the tips that I gave you, go out there and pitch your idea. And I really hope that your pitch is better than this guy's pitch.
Good afternoon, Dragons.
Hi, how are you?
I'm from Joe Burger, CC. My name is Zitanda Emmanuel Mbala.
Your name is?
Get that? Don't worry, you can call me Mr. President. Zitanda Emmanuel Mbala.
Mr. President, okay.
I'd like to grow a 1 million rands invested today in my business to be worth over $100 million by 31st December 2014. In exchange for 10% of stake in my business, I've invented this very powerful product which is about to change the world, not just for a season, but permanently. My product is a smart toilet paper lubricating device. To help you make sense of it, think of it as a balm application.
Balm application?
There are applications for everything today. There's apps for almost everything, but there hasn't been one for the balm. This one helps you wipe yourself effectively.
For what? Sorry,
It's an app that helps you wipe yourself. I want to see this.
Yeah, it's
no, hold on, really? You can understand how
Did
this
you say
is funny, right?
A smart toilet
lubricating. Toilet paper lubricating device for effective wiping after using the bathroom. Because if you have used the restroom today after you left your house, you probably wiped with a dry toilet paper.
Let's have a look at it.
Absolutely. This is what it looks like. And it's been patented as such, as an application. What you see,
Turn it around.
Yeah, what you see here is a package of different items. All these items are to help harness or to monetize the opportunity. I studied the behavior of the human eye in relationship with the human anus. Nobody has ever conducted that
The
study.
human eye relationship
Absolutely.
with the
And-
human anus.
Absolutely.
Guys. I think, honestly, let's just get to the point here.
What I discovered is the fact that these two organs are equally intelligent as far as sensitivity is concerned. We have a deal locally and in the US, all right? Locally, the stores, the brand that we have a deal with, they have 140 stores across the country.
Okay, who are they?
Should I say the names?
Of course.
Or
Yes,
store that?
yes.
Micro stores locally.
Who?
Micro.
So market stores have agreed to stock your product?
Absolutely. They need about 10,000 units to get us started. It's a cash deal.
It's a cash deal.
Yes. You deliver, you get paid that day.
Now we're talking. This is just not my game, and I'm worried that I'm going to be flushing money down the toilet.
Yeah, I respect.
I have to say that I'm out. Thanks.
Thank you.
But unfortunately, I won't be parting with my money today. I'm out.
You know, there's so many other challenges in South Africa at this point in time.
Yes.
And yours, I do not think it's a serious priority.
Thank you very much.
Do I have to say it?
No, you already said it.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.